I actually had my first experience of a great spiritual recognition surrounding a gun. And even though we know they're kind of warlike things and we'd rather stay away, sometimes they're just the right stress to give us the chance to find something outrageous that we would not have otherwise known it existed. When mine came along, I was 10. And my parents, who were like the epitome of not nice people, decided that I was a threat. I was a severely abused child, and decided to kill me. And so my father held a loaded pistol to my head while I was being encouraged to drink some poisonous stuff. I'm here. I lived. In that last moment, when I was so ready to go, I thought 10 years was long enough. When I was so ready to go, suddenly something came into me, and I threw the glass up in the air. And then my father ran around the house and tried to find another potion that would do it. And this time I had no fight left, so I drank it. I'm not telling you this story so we can rehash some old place, because this story is about a miracle. It's about the miracle that we are. It's about the miracle that joins us. We can remember it or we can forget it, but it does not change. The following morning, after I gave up and was ready to leave, I actually woke up in my bedroom before dawn. It was right after the first of the year, cold in Chicago. And this voice, surround sound. I'm 66. We didn't have stereo then, so it's like, there you go. That'll date you. Surround sound in my bedroom, screaming at me, get up, get out. Now, I've read all the details and the studies on scientific perspectives on what the brain is actually doing when we pass from this life, and how when people see the light or feel good, it's because it's endorphins or brain cells are dying. But I'm not, which I totally disagree with, by the way, but I am not so sure that those brain cells in their dying throes would yell out a warning. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. So what was that voice? Get up, get out. What was that voice that wouldn't let me go, that even though my body couldn't walk, I managed to find a way out of that house into the street? What was that voice? 10 years old. When I got into the street finally, I turned my head this way, and it was a snow-covered street. We didn't have snowplows then either. It was a snow-covered street, and 2 angels were coming for me, 2 stars. What it actually was 2 headlights on the car of a boy who lived on a block up the way that I didn't plan. So I didn't know him and he didn't know me. But he was on his way to open the local bakery. And not knowing where I lived and being desperately afraid that he had hit me, he went to the door, the neighbor, the house next door, and got them up. And that's how I made it to 66. I got help from a different source. But what was it that put me in a position to get help externally? This thing that joins us, this idea of love, this idea of greatness that cannot be denied. It can be forgotten, but it can't be pushed away. I didn't have to read a book, and at that time, although I was a good student, we were very structured in what we learned. There were no books about spirits and about metaphysics and about potentials. I went to a Lutheran school. It was very boxed in. And yet the voice came. This idea, when we say love, we have to love ourselves. Sometimes someone will feel like, well, you might as well tell me to climb Mount McKinley. It just isn't going to happen because you think you have to go through a whole huge anthology. All these stories after stories after stories on how to love yourself. It isn't true. You have to make a choice. You have to let that choice be one thought greater than the one you're thinking. Just one thought greater. What if love isn't based on whether or not you agree with you? What if you can make the worst mistake in the world and know that it doesn't matter? If you're willing, you can learn from it. Or if you'd rather beat up on yourself for as long as you feel like, you can do that too. But we have the choice. And then sometimes those choices are so subtle. They're just so subtle that we miss it. Sometimes we have a place inside of ourselves in which we haven't forgiven or haven't let go, or we're still holding on to what we should have done, could have done, would have done. And so it creates that self-doubt, and it just hums so subsurfacely we don't even know we're holding ourselves back. We don't even know we're blocking ourselves from another opportunity to give, from another opportunity to share, from another expanded opportunity to be.